Shalom family. So today I want to talk about the 3 most important things, you cannot miss this, about herbs. So pretty much if you're gonna work with herbs, these are the 3 things you need to know. If you feel like there's a lot to learn, you don't know where to start, this definitely, you need to understand this. This is the missing piece that I find a lot of people are missing, and then they don't get the results that they're looking for. So let's go ahead and break them down. I actually have a method, my TEA method, which is what I give to my students pretty much to kind of check themselves whenever they're making blends. If you are making medicinal blends, you must incorporate these 3 things. And I recently updated my TEA method. And so it had 3 T's, an E and an A. And so now it's 3 T's, an E, and 2 A's. And so we're gonna go through the E and 2 A's today. That's what you need for a medicinal blend. So the first one is E, energetic. So sometimes you probably heard of the Herbalist talk about it, and it probably sounds, kind of like far out there. So just to simplify it, energetics is basically how the herbs shift your body and with the changes that it makes in your body. And so if you think about when it's hot, you crave certain things, you come to certain remedies, watermelon, cucumbers, you might want to have a salad, you might not want to have a hot soup when it's really hot, especially like if try not having air conditioning in your house and see the foods that you go for. Fruits, of course, fresh fruits, you have the fruit salads, things that you even think about, like what you eat in a picnic. Lots of salads, lots of cold things. And so on the flip side, what do you crave when it's really cold? You want those warm stews and soups and things like that, and you may have them nice and spicy. And so you crave certain things because you may not know this, but on a subconscious, your body is craving that, which it isn't. So what it needs to bring itself into balance. So it's cold to warm you up. It wants you to take things that are going to help you to get to where you need to be. So it's just always about bringing you back into balance. And so that's pretty much what the energetics is. Now that's the simplified version of it, but this is probably one of the areas where a lot of people overlook, and it can cause contraindication. So if you think about, there is a happy medium for everything. You can go overboard, and it's not good to go over or under, right? You always want to have that balance. So when you overdo things, you can exacerbate problems and make them even worse. And that's something that we never want to do as herbalists. We want people to be healed, if you use that word, because some people don't, because of the legalism and all that. But we want people to leave us better than when they came, right? And we want them to be restored, nourished, whatever word you want to use. And so we don't want them to say, oh, you made it worse. And you can definitely lose someone's trust like that. And when you have people that have chronic issues, doing that can really cause them harm. And so we're not in the business of doing harm. So you want to make sure that you pay attention to this. So one of the ways when you can see this is, let's say somebody has a cold and they have like a really dry, scratchy throat. You don't want to give them something that's really going to irritate them, that's going to make it worse, that's going to dry them out even more, to where now they're maybe coughing all the time. Like, when you have a real dry throat, itchy, scratchy throat, just anything like that, one cough that just emerges and you'll be coughing for a long time because you need that lubrication. The same thing, if a person is already having water retention, you want to make sure that the remedies that you're giving them are not going to be causing their circulation to continue to slow down. So you have to be very careful because, again, like I said, it can cause harm. So energetics, something very important that you really need to consider. The next one, affinity. So you can have the right remedy, but is it going to the right place? So that's what the affinity is. Every herb, they have their affinity, they have their energetics, they have all the different properties. That's why we have so many of them. So that no matter what unique circumstance a person has, there is a remedy for them. And so you want to make sure each herb, just as we have doctors that are specialists in their field, herbs they have their specialities or specificities rather. And so you want to make sure you have the right herb and that it also is specific for that organ, because you want to make sure that is it gonna even reach that location? Now you can always, as you become, more advanced, you can tailor your formula to kind of move things and whatnot. But just on a general broad spectrum, you want to make sure if you are, so here's an example, and I think examples are a really good way to explain things. So like a lot of times someone will come to you and say, I need a diuretic or something like that, broad, but they're not really specific about, what's going on or whatever. Most herbs tend to be drying naturally from taking herbs. You're taking them with water usually, in teas or whatnot. It will cause you to go to urinate more. So many herbs have that action of being diuretic, but you want to make sure. So what's the reason why you need a diuretic? So people get annoyed all the time because I'm the one who will actually follow up questions. So whenever someone says, I need a blank, 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 I need to know why you think you need that. Because sometimes maybe you think this is the right answer, but it's something else. And so that's where they come for you for that knowledge. And so they might not know what's best in that situation. They can do their own research and maybe they're listening to, what other people's perspective is. But if they're coming to you and they're asking me for that help, that is something that I do. And so you want to make sure, like I said, if you just saying I need something that's gonna get rid of inflammation, well, where? Because there's plenty of herbs that can help with alleviating inflammation, and there's so many different reasons why you could be having inflammation. So you have to be more specific. So by looking at the affinity, that's just one area of specificity, and the more specific we can get, the more we know the recipe is tailored to them, and the more likely you are to have a positive result. And then the last one is going to be the action. That's the A that I'm adding on. So we have the 2 A's now, the action. So like I just explained, the action is very important, but you need to know how the herb actually does this action. So how does it do it? It's not just the what is important, but you need to know the what, but you need to know the how as well. So how it actually does it. Because if your problem is inflammation and this herb does it in this way, but that's not even why your problem is caused, then it's not going to work for you. So a lot of times you see people with saying, I tried that herb, it didn't work for me. You might have had the same symptom, but it may not have been for the same underlying cause. It may have been for 2 different reasons. So it's not just enough to have it because you have the same illness. You really have to get more specific and more honed in. You really have to, as I always say, investigate and find out why, and then you can know how this herb works and then why it would work best in that situation for that person. And that's how you choose it, not just by someone else use it and it worked for them, unless they have the same circumstance. So those 3 things, energetics, affinity, and action, you need to understand those different things about the herb. Those are the most important things to really understand about the herb. Dosaging, things like that, that's really simple. That's numbers. But you really have to understand the logic behind how you actually use the herbs to be able to use them properly. So I hope that this video was helpful. If it was, let me know if you got something down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.